Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to First and Ted. Here with Aaron Labigan from 49ers First Takes on our weekly show here Wednesdays at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. Aaron, talk to me. How you doing this week?
Pretty good. We have a little bit to talk about. John Lynch was very talkative, and the 49ers have taken care of some things since the last time we talked. So there's actually some talking points that, every week we're like, oh, we're going to run out of stuff. We're going to run out of stuff. And then something happens. So, yeah, I'm good. It's getting closer to free agency in a couple weeks, which makes me happy because we're going to know a lot of things by the 14th. One, has Purdy had surgery? And two, if he does have surgery and things seem to be okay, what kind of direction do we go in free agency? I'd be interested to see if we just fill a lot of small holes and maybe go big in the draft, or do we go after one position in free agency? We just don't know because the Niners don't have a ton of cap space right now. So I really don't have any idea what they're going to do.
Me neither. I mean, there's obviously those rumors about restructuring, but ideally you don't want to be restructuring those older players like Trent, Eric Armstead.
Right.
Even Kittle is getting up there to where you don't want to be adding too many more years to his contract ideally. But those are three of the big ones that are possibilities. Obviously, CMC, Fred, and Mooney Ward would be three others that maybe make a little more sense from an age perspective, at least. So,
yeah, you don't want to put too much money into something that's a declining investment. You know what I mean? Like guys that you think are going to be around and can give you another about 3 or 4 years. That's probably your best bet. And Warner, and maybe somebody else on the offense. A lot of people, because of that report that came out, that one person dropped that report on Twitter. A lot of people went with it. I've been kind of 50-50 on it because I really didn't know who the guy was, saying that the Niners are going to extend certain players.
Yeah.
A lot of people went after the whole Eric Armstead part of the equation, and I don't blame him whatsoever. But I'll wait till the big guys come out and say stuff, the Barrows and the Mayokas, before I cast any dispersions on anybody. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, I saw you added them to it to see if they would reply, and apparently they haven't. So
yeah, they don't like me very much, apparently, because I like to crack on Bay Area reporters for being soft.
Well, or they don't know anything more than we do, and they don't want to say no to somebody. Yeah, I mean, that guy who reported, he's got a pretty big following, but definitely not one of your top tier, most reputable, reporters out there, like your Ian Rappaports or Adam Schefter's. And there's sort of like the tier below them as well too. I don't think he's in that, but he's a guy that I tend to believe a little bit. So I think that's why I ran a poll about it to see who people wanted. If we did free up a bunch of money, what was the most important need? And left tackle came up, center came up, and defensive tackle were sort of the three big ones that I saw people wanting.
If we went 1-1, if we went edge and right tackle, that'd be good. If we went defensive tackle and right tackle, that'd be good. All I know is the Niners have Kalia Davis and they have Drake Jackson. So, and they were mentioned I'm trying to think. I was listening to Matt Mioka had a podcast where he talked to John Lynch. I caught a bit of it. And the Niners have some expectations of Kalia Davis and Drake Jackson, especially Drake Jackson, come in, have a better body, be able to withstand a full season. And maybe they have, I don't know, maybe they have, because they see them every day, they have different views on what they think the more pressing needs are. So we'll have to wait and see. All I know is that currently how we were constructed last year defensively, we definitely could have used some more production on the defensive line. So I wouldn't be mad if the Niners went, edge in the free agency period or defensive tackle.
Well, now, I mean, isn't the whole draft defensive tackle pecking order on its rear end with the Jalen Carter, getting charges pressed against him in Georgia. I guess he was in an auto accident where one of his teammates and a staffer from UGA were killed, unfortunately. So that's going to change a lot of the draft pecking order, especially for defensive tackles.
Yeah, he's probably, they find him guilty. I don't think he's going to have. I would assume people are taking him off their draft boards. I would assume, right? Like that's it.
Well, teams like the Niners will. I mean, because we don't mess with people with character issues, but other teams, might look at it as a value play. We'll see. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say.
I'm glad the Niners have gotten to the point now where they're not desperate for talent, and they'll take massive chances on a guy that his character flags all over the place. I mean, when we took that shot on Reuben Foster, we just didn't have any talent. You know what I mean? Defensively. So you almost kind of just hope and pray, and that a guy's going to come into your organization and be a good soldier. But unfortunately, some people, they are who they are, and no matter how much money and time you put into them, they're not going to change. So, I mean, that's a big situation, though. This guy pretty much killed 2 people while driving. So, I mean, if anybody's going to have them on their draft board, that says a lot about their organization. If they're still willing to look past 2 people dying. So,
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Serious situation. I hope it resolves for the best for everybody. Got Raphael 562 Niners stopped in early. He was here about 3 today. It's about half hour before the show. He said, "What's up, Ted and everyone?" As usual form for him, he said, "Like and subscribe, everyone." Yeah, if everyone could like and subscribe to both our channels, we would really appreciate it. It really helps us to do what we do for you. I got Jess from East Coast Red and Gold podcast.
What's going on, Jess?
And that's coming up today at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. So after you're done watching us, make sure you get over and watch Jess and her crew. That she's got a great team over there with Ty Bex and Maddie B. A lot of fun. They had me on last week, and I had a great time with them. Always good shows from Jess and crew over there.
My guy.
Bashar.
My guy.
Bash. 49er Minded. Saying, yo, Ted and Aaron, thanks for coming, Bash. We appreciate it. Everybody's saying hi to each other. We got one of my favorites, Hamilton Talks Ball in the house. Uno y Tedo. So I guess he's saying you're Uno, Aaron. I think that's nice. You're the ace, and I'm just Tedo. But for anyone who doesn't know, Hamilton is my dog. He's a husky corgi mix with some yellow lab and samoyed, and even a little chihuahua in there. But real cute dog, real friendly. And
that's awesome.
My first parody account, so he's been popping in again. He took a little break, and I was missing him, and I'm glad he's back. So we'll see.
He's like sitting in his cage right now, like.
Yeah, at least somebody's good with tech in this house. That's certainly not me. So thanks for stopping by, Hamilton. We appreciate it. We got 49ers throwback Fernando in the house. Thank you, Fernando. He's giving us a little applause. And then Stevo Supremo, Guardian helmets should be worn all year. No, I mean, there's probably some wisdom to that. They sure don't look good. You look like a Martian. It reminds me of that Martian from Bugs Bunny with the big head. But
you talking about the ones in training camp?
Yeah, with all the foam on the outside to prevent concussions or reduce. I think nothing prevents concussions, but I think it reduces concussions at least. So, I just wonder in a game if you're tackling, if you wouldn't have different kind of injuries, neck injuries from those or something. Sometimes when you fix one problem, you create another. So. I don't know. And then, like I said, certainly they don't look cool. And that's part of football. It's the gladiator look. Seth Ayers in the house saying, love the show. Well, thanks, Seth. We love having you here. Thanks for being here. And Fernando is saying, hey, Ted, I hope 49ers draft another edge rusher. Can't go wrong with having enough pass rushers.
Totally agree.
I don't
even care if we address it in free agency. I'd address it again in the draft,
Yeah, I mean, we need our D Ford replacement. I don't think Drake Jackson is that. I like Drake Jackson, but I don't think he's speedy like D Ford was. I don't think he has that first step, and that's what we really need on the opposite side of Bosa, in my
Yep.
opinion.
Concur.
So cool. Well, that's a little first round of audience interaction. I'm sure we'll have more, but obviously we got some cool stuff to talk about today. It's interesting. Today is March 1st, and it's so weird to have March 1st 1 week from February 22nd. I mean, not in February, but in general, to have the first of a month, literally 7 days from the 22nd of the month before. Obviously, this isn't a month where February has 29 days and it never has 30 or 31. But the significance of Feb 22 was Purdy's original surgery date.
Yep.
And they said they would reconvene in early March, and now it sounds like that's going to happen maybe by the end of the week, is what they're saying, late this week. So maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. And there's hope that if all goes well in that meeting, that they might schedule that surgery first thing next week. So maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. So that'd be like the 6th or 7th of March, which could put the recovery date, if all goes well, knock on wood, right around September 6th, which is will be my 53rd birthday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, getting
You're
up there.
You're a full 10 years older than me.
Well, not quite, because you're not that much longer after me, right? What are you, February?
December 14th.
December, yeah. So you're 3 months after me. So yeah, so you're pretty quick. So anyway, bottom line is, let's hope that we get Brock in there quickly, and that it's the internal brace repair surgery for the quickest recovery, the 6 months. I have my doubts, but we'll all hope for the best until we hear something else, I suppose, on that.
Yeah, and they asked John Lynch, one of those people being our own Jason Aponte, who is there on Radio Row, not Radio Row. That's at the Super Bowl. But he was there with the reporters asking questions at the combine, and he posed the question too, with the uncertainty, going on with everything. Will the Niners look to make a play as far as addressing with a veteran quarterback? And he didn't downplay it because there's a lot of unknowns right now. The organization, especially John and Kyle, seem to think that they pretty much know what kind of surgery he's getting, and they've kind of not moved off of that. But at the same time, they do say that things can change. So the way it looks to me is, if for a fact that Purdy's going to be out by a certain, if you say you reach next week and then they have the surgery the following week, then I would say for certain you go after a free agent guy. And then, of course, you'd probably bring someone into camp too, just to have enough people to throw the ball and split reps. To me, this is very, very similar to the Garoppolo situation last year, where like Garoppolo was in the background and eventually he got his start in week 2. So for all the people that are really going ooh and ah and just feeling all stressed out about the situation, really, if his arm does what we think it's going to do after surgery, he could be ready by week 2, week 3. And if Trey Lance is healthy and playing well, then it's just an added bonus eventually when he comes back to play. John Lynch did make it sound like, though, from the Marioka interview, that when asked if it's still Brock Purdy's team, he didn't really dismiss it. So it'll be an interesting situation, to say the least. But yeah, this next week or so is really going to be important.
Yeah, super important, and a huge opportunity for Lance, kind of no matter how it plays out. Just really comes down to who will we pick as the backup QB. I think there's a pool of guys that are, if it's like the best case scenario, I think you go more cheap and cheerful, maybe a little more improved and developmental. And if it's worst case, Tommy John, and he's out for the season, then maybe you spend a little more and go with a more of a proven vet that's going to cost quite a bit more probably as well too. Did you have some people you like in those buckets?
Let's see if I have it. Let me see if I can pop it up here. Do I have it? I have to go to see if it's on my Twitter feed here.
And if not, I mean, for me, like if it's the sort of cheap and cheerful option, one I like is Jarrett Stidham because he's game and experience, but he's got a lot of experience in practice and preseasons with the Patriots, not unlike Jimmy G when we got him.
Right. So Sterling Bennett
games.
had a list. Stidham's not on the list, but here is his guys. He's got Marcus Mariota, Teddy Bridgewater, Jacoby Brissett, Tyler Heineke, Cooper Rush, Gardner Minshew, Case Keenum, Andy Dalton, Sam Darnold, Mayfield, and Wentz. For me, if I had to pick and the Niners would listen to me, I would say Mariota, definitely. Heineke is another one. And Gardner Minshew. Those would be the three guys that I would not mind the 49ers taking a shot at if the situation looks like it's going to be a lot more dire.
So no Jacoby Brissett then?
Not a big Brissett guy, no.
Fair. I mean, I called him Jalopy Brisket, but to be derogatory. But he did play pretty well for the Browns last season. While they were waiting for Deshaun to come back. But interesting. That's cool. Okay. As far as have you heard much about this S2 cognition testing controversy that's come out?
No. I was completely lost when you posted that. I'm like, what is this? Huh?
Okay, well, maybe I can explain it a little, and we'll see if that helps. See if you have an opinion on it. But basically, it all started yesterday. I saw this posting by David Lighty, and it was saying something to the effect of like, "Oh, the Athletic, they're so biased, blah 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 blah." Something negative about the Athletic, which is basically Barrows and Lombardi, and couldn't really tell what he was talking about from the tweet. But then drawing a blank here, there was a space last night. It had a lot of people in it. It had David Lighty was in there too, but it was Jesse Naylor and Grant Cohn stopped by. And I keep blanking on the name of the guy who has the actual Marco was the one who kind of broke this story. So basically, Barrows in the Athletic wrote a story about Purdy and Lance and how they did on this cognition test. It's like the Wonderlic, except for it's nothing like the Wonderlic, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay.
Like the Wonderlic is kind of like a written IQ test, right? And this is like a post-snap recognition test to test how you do after the snap of the ball to know what you need to do in a split second type of situation. And so they rank people into 5 categories from 80th percentile on up as elite, and then below that is above average, and then there's like average, below average, and like I guess 0 to 20 is like limited or something, pretty negative like that. And the bottom line is that both Purdy and Lance were in the elite category. But because elite goes from 80 to 100, there's a big difference if you're like by 80 or like the one score that was released. None of the scores are released either, which makes it interesting because, I guess it could be used against you in a negotiation, or even if you got the detailed information, it could be used against you in a game. Literally, they could know how to attack you, and defenses could know how to better defend you based on your weaknesses on this test. But one guy did it when he was at LSU, which is sort of their test laboratory, and that was Joe Burrow. He scored 97th percentile. And sounds like Purdy was pretty close. He was in the 90s somewhere. and we don't know exactly where. And from the article, my understanding is the article said that Lance was closer to 80% than he was to Purdy, but Marco Martinez had the guy from the testing facility on who runs it from S2 Cognition himself that administers these tests. And he said that Lance was closer to Purdy than he was to the 80th percentile. And so there's this big kerfuffle about like, why are they smearing Lance essentially, whether it was by accident or, I don't think Barrows said anything that was completely untrue. It just sounded like maybe he took out some words that obscured the meaning or made it seem more like that. And so ultimately, there's another piece to it too, though, which is as people get more experience, they do better on this test. So it kind of explains why Purdy might do better since he had 48 starts in college,
right,
compared to Lance only having 17. Plus, I don't think he took it as a pro, but I think it was probably before the combine. I'm not exactly sure on all the details, but ultimately there was this discrepancy between what Barrows said and what the people who run the actual test said. And unfortunately, we can't get exact numbers for Purdy or Lance, but it sounded like, either by accident or on purpose, there was a little bit of a misrepresentation of where Lance was on there in relation to Purdy. And so that's what people were up in arms about last night.
Well, I think for the sake of argument, I can understand why Purdy tested high. He did look like a guy that could read the field very well. Whether he had the physical tools to do it or not, that's another discussion. But if you're just talking cerebral part of the game, I think he is as good as there is, considering where he was drafted and his physical skill set. And Lance, we just don't have enough of a sample size to really say if that test has any influence and if it's true or not, whichever side of the argument you want to go to. Do you want to go to the Barrow side of the argument, where you're kind of being somewhat disparaging to Trey Lance, or do you want to remain to the other side of the argument where they say it's closer, that they were closer in score? So it's amazing when you have a narrative that you're trying to push, the lengths that you will go to get information and what kind of information you'll put out there to support said narrative. And to me, again, with so many people, let this Lance kid do something on the field before you judge him. He's literally played 4 games in the NFL. That's it.
Well, it's interesting. You had a short today too, where you were talking about, you're close to 10,000 subs. So everybody, let's help Aaron get to 10,000
No,
subs.
not 10,000, almost 6,000, 100 away.
Or 6,000. Sorry.
I wish I was 10,000.
No, that was Raj and Jesse are pushing up on 10,000.
Yeah, because they're good. They're really good and stuff. But thank you.
My bad. Well, still 6,000. It's still a hell of an accomplishment for me. I mean, shoot, I'm just trying to get to 300 here. So, sorry, I had to do that. But what was I going to say? Yeah, you were saying on there that some, reporters are like clickbaity, and you're more of a fan who likes to talk about the team than a reporter who has a clickbait or some kind of agenda. And I feel like there is this kind of agenda, especially if you're kind of getting paid by the team. I feel like some people get compromised a little bit by that, and they become kind of pawns a little bit for the team. Well, and I feel like there's been this sort of anti-Lance narrative, whether it was Mike Silver this last summer, where he's reporting something true about the arm fatigue, but sort of the context around it and making it a big deal when it wasn't a big deal. Like, who wouldn't be tired after throwing for 20 months straight without a break? Like, that's not a big deal. But Silver wanted to make it a big deal. And he had this other one where he was saying, like, if you don't think they're concerned, you're not paying attention. And so I just feel like some of these guys, but the question is then why are the 49ers kind of trying to poo-poo Lance, which that's frustrating to me, because I feel like we spent all these picks on this guy. He's clearly shown signs, and it's like, and you want to like subvert him every chance you get. It seems like it's wild.
I personally don't think the 49ers, when I say 49ers, I mean John and Kyle, I don't think they're trying to subvert the kid. I feel like they got into a situation last year where Purdy showed him something that they didn't. I mean, they knew a little bit about him, but nobody knew he was going to play to that level last year. And their offense was never operating at the level that it did under Jimmy Garoppolo, like it did under Brock Purdy. So I could understand why the players in the locker room are saying, this is Brock's team until he loses it, or it's his job till he loses it. And I think the Niners coaching and front office, I think they feel the same way. And it has nothing to do with Trey Lance or what he did. I just think it has a lot to do with what Brock Purdy did. And they're kind of in a conundrum. But like I've said before, it's a meritocracy. It doesn't matter where you get drafted. It doesn't matter what pick you were. What matters is if you can contribute to the team winning football games. And he did that last year. He didn't ride the wave like Jimmy, where it was like, yeah, he had a good game here, a good game there. For the most part, he kind of rode on the coattails. He was one of the main reasons in a lot of those games that we did as well as we did. So, did I think the media has bias? Absolutely. That's why I love Grant, because Grant's not a fan of the team. Grant just covers the team. So he's going to put out opinions out there. They're going to irritate people and piss them off. Some of them, he's got a job to do too. He's got a channel to run. He's got a brand to deal with. So he's going to put things out there that are controversial, but that's just part of the game. But to say that for people to just to say that there is people out there that have a narrative that's anti-Lance, I would 100% agree. It's unfortunate he got hurt last year, because if he wouldn't have gotten hurt and we didn't get to where we lost in the same game, right? We would have had all that experience with him getting better. And now we're kind of in the same spot. And if Brock is the hot quarterback and he's playing really well, do you take Brock out just because you drafted him in the third pick overall, or do you ride the hot hand? So it's crazy. Unfortunately, the Niners kind of did this to themselves, but at the same time, I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have. But I don't think the Niners, like I said, the organization is outright trying to subvert them. I do think the media, though, has their favorites. And it's unfortunate because the kid's done nothing to deserve it. But who knows?
Well, maybe it's not the front office, but what about the little group of players like Kittle and McGlinchey and Juszczyk? I mean, those guys definitely seem to be anti-Lance, if you ask me, with all their comments you see them make in public comments that we have seen. I think so maybe that's the sources.
Yeah, I definitely think it could be. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that these players know that they have a window to win. And I think a lot of them don't want to put up with this whole, unfortunately with Lance, they have to put up with the inexperience and the mistakes and the growing pains when they're in the midst of a Super Bowl window. Again, though, the Niners made this pick. Lance didn't pick himself. So if we blame anybody, we can't blame Lance, and neither should these reporters. They should blame the Niners for, trading away the farm for a guy that may never become what the organization or the fans envision, because they have this freaking little tiny pissant, freaking mini Joe Montana quarterback out there who's pulling miracles out of his ass, and he's so small and it doesn't look like he can do any of it, and he just continues to amaze us. And unfortunately, sometimes you just got to go with it. So, man,
no doubt about it. Did you see this comment from Mariah?
I did.
It's one
I
of my
appreciate
fave
that.
Looks, Aaron. That hood jacket, whatever it is, combo.
This I bought last year off of New Era, and then I saw this on the Niners website, or it was on Fanatics. That's the website you work with.
Yes, I have a Fanatics sponsorship. Yes, well, next time try my link. You can get 15%, 10 to 15% off, and I get a little piece. It's a win-win. So it's in the description. It's in my my banner of YouTube and all my bios of Twitter and Instagram. So.
For the amount of money that I spend on Fanatics, they need to offer me a sponsorship. Damn it.
There you go. That's exactly right. Well, we can work on that. I think I said I was going to. So let me follow up with that. I'll talk to the guy at my representative there and see.
He'd be like, "Hey, I know a guy.
I know a guy who gets a lot more. He gets a lot more views than I do. You're gonna love him. So
he's kind of a jabroni, though. because he lives in New York and he talks Niners.
Not at all. I mean, yeah, no, happy to help any way I can. Emiliano was saying maybe some seemingly minor discrepancy works better for the narrative. That was talking about the Purdy and Lance scores. I mean, ultimately, that the administrator or the owner, the guy who from S2 Cognition, he basically said like Lance and Purdy should be excited to have two guys that scored that high on the same team. So we're really lucky. Neither one should be hindered by their score. And then especially if you consider the part about Lance, as he gets experience, is probably going to get better at it as well too. There's nothing wrong with what was said during Marco Mart's podcast, and that's called just to give him a plug. It's called Clutch Gene Sports. So everybody check out Marco Martinez if you haven't already. And the guy's name from S2 Cognition is Brandon Alley. Interesting stuff there, and definitely a really good show to watch. Very, very informative, not just about our guys, but about a lot of the people in the NFL, and also a lot of positions besides quarterback too, because they don't just test quarterbacks with this stuff. They test DNs, tackles, corners, safeties, O-linemen, running backs, wide receivers, you name it. So, and different positions have different correlations. Obviously, quarterback's one of the higher ones of you need to be good on this test to do well. They said defensive ends doesn't really matter. You could be pretty much a meathead. It's like see-ball, hit ball.
I just rush quarterback.
Yeah, pretty much. So, except for Nick Bosa. Nick.
Nah. I was just watching a little clip of him.
And Sherm.
Yeah, man, that makes me excited. Dude, he is obsessed with his craft, Bosa.
Yeah.
He is obsessed with his craft. I guess says he gets down on himself during camp if he's not doing well. That's what you want to hear, man. That's what you want to hear from your team and your players. That's why when I hear about the load management trash from the NBA, man, you know who could lose load management? NFL players. They should have 2 bye weeks.
Yes, they should have 2 bye weeks.
I think
it'll come with the 18-game season. They'll finally go to 2.
Yeah, they need to get. Well, they should do it now. They should do it now. They could push the Super Bowl 1 extra week.
David McNiner in the house. Just want to call him out.
What's going on, brother?
He was on Monday with me. We had a lot of fun. Or was it yesterday? Gosh, it's all blurring together now. But he was on recently, and we had a great show with his pencil thin goatee.
Oh yeah, he's got like the pencil thin Stone Cold Steve Austin deal going on, dude. It's freaking awesome.
I mean, you can kind of see what mine would look like now, and it's just nothing compared to that. It's I got to shave mine before all the grays come in.
I should grow a beard. I have a lot of acne scars. When I was younger, I had really bad cystic acne, so it was like it would just cover my whole face. And I've grown in a beard before. I got really nice looks from the ladies. I look pretty masculine with a beard. I look very burly, very Al Borland like. So
I love it.
It just I don't like having stuff around my face after a while. I get like it's itchy and stuff. So I just shave it all off.
Little tool time reference.
Little tool time reference, people.
That's right.
For all you old heads in here.
More power.
Arr.
That was a great show. Tim the Toolman Taylor. So then everybody else is just saying hi. Bebop was saying he loved Jess's picture with Juwan. Jess is the photo bomb ninja with players, with coaches. She gets them all.
Jess, you need to hook me. Jess, we need to meet up at a 49ers game. You got to hook me up with all the players, man. Because I got to make up for 30 some odd years of being a fan and never have gone to a game. So if I can go to a game or a meeting of players and get like 10 players to take pictures with me, that'll pretty much make up for everything that I've missed. Like, who's this big creepy, pale white guy going up to all the players and photobombing all of them with Jess, and they'll kick me out.
You just have to got to have a room key. That's the ticket. Just stay at the Santa Clara Hilton. I think then they can't kick you out. Like, sorry, I'm staying here, man. I'm official. Fernando is saying Brock Purdy better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Absolutely. I mean, maybe not on the first read, but the second, third, and fourth reads, he's so much better. It definitely makes up for it.
You
in
know,
my
I'll
opinion.
say this right now, he looks that way.
Yeah.
We have a small window. Do I think that small window, you know, a lot can be taken from it? Yes, but we still have a lot to see. But Jimmy, the argument I always have with Jimmy fans is it's not a bashing of Jimmy. It's the fact that he's been in the league as long as he has. And it seemed like he got to a certain place and never kind of improved. He's always been kind of just the same, you know what I mean? No matter who is in charge of quarterback coach. Now, I will say this year he played very well before his injury. How much of that was because he was in a contract year? So Jimmy Garoppolo, say what you want. He's a businessman first and a quarterback second. The man wants to get paid. But yeah, we'll see. We don't know 100% about Purdy though.
Well, and here's some more about Jimmy. Agree, Aaron said same thing. That's what team like about Jimmy. Jimmy wins. LOL. So Jimmy's come up. You know, that brings up a question of where do we think Jimmy ends up? Do you have any ideas on?
I honestly, and I don't mean this to your question. That's not my attitude. I don't care. I really don't.
As long as it's not here, you mean?
As long as he's not on the 49ers anymore,
because,
I'm sick of just the circus.
Lombardi tweeted today, like Lynch said he's probably gone, and Lombardi upgraded that to very likely. And then I quote tweeted Lombardi and I said, very likely is not likely enough for me. You know, like I want 100% likely that Jimmy is gone, especially after that controversy in the NFC Championship game where maybe he could have played, maybe not. I don't know. You know, only his doctor knows, but you know, there's definitely some signs that he could have played.
Something was awry because of how terse, and that is a Larry Krueger term that I am stealing from Larry.
Yeah,
Kyle was very terse when asked about Jimmy. And John Lynch brought up that particular thing without anybody really saying anything. He said something along the lines as, I know there's been some talk whether there's blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, who asked? The fact that he brought it up means that there's some merit to it. Because if they didn't bring
here, he's on social media. He knows. John, he's got a Twitter account. He sees what's going on.
He was the one that liked the tweet when they said to keep Jimmy in Tennessee, okay?
And when he was out on the tarmac.
Get out of here.
He was out on the tarmac. Yeah, look at
I love John Lynch. He is a great face of a franchise, but he lies about as well as a styrofoam rug. You know what I mean? Like he just, dude, stop. We know.
It makes two of us. I'm not very good at it either. I
could never lie to my mom growing up. I would cry every single time. All she would do is stare at me, and it was like freaking the Niagara Falls. My sisters, on the other hand, could lie all the time and seem to never get caught.
Well, it's the difference between cats and dogs, I guess.
Yes.
So, you know, there's a lot of signs that pointed, you know, only Jimmy and his doctor know the truth, right, of whether he could play. But there are definitely some signs that pointed to he, you know, maybe could have played. I mean, for starters, like it was 9 weeks, and most broken bones heal in 6 to 8 weeks.
I think he was milking it.
Yeah, I mean, we kept him off IR to bring him back. That's exactly why we didn't put him on IR, because we expected him back.
If he was my teammate and he was walking around smiling there in the NFC Championship game, I probably would have punched him in his face.
Speaking of teammates, there's one who sounded like he wanted to do that. It was Martellus Bennett, right? And that was a couple years ago, calling him out for the same thing, for making business decisions with the Patriots. And it didn't seem like Edelman really went to Jimmy's defense either. So, and then, you know, Debo said, well, if we only had one more quarterback in the NFC Championship game, could have been a whole different result. Well, gosh, I wonder who Debo was talking about, right? I mean,
now the NFL looks like it's actually passing a rule to be able to keep 3 quarterbacks, I guess, in the playoffs or something.
That'd be great. That would be great.
The Niners are going to they're going to call it the 49er rule, or the Garoppolo rule, or the something rule. The Purdy rule, yeah.
Josh Johnson rule. Oof, I hope we don't see him again. But that's the thing. Jimmy, Josh Johnson, Nick Mullins, Nate Sudfeld, they all know the system.
Oh, that's
So,
another thing. There's another guy. You asked a player to bring back that might not be super expensive, Nate Sudfeld.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind Nate Sudfeld. He already knows the system,
No.
but he would be their third guy. Would he be willing to take that kind of responsibility cut, or he just stands and looks pretty on the sideline, all the time unless they need another quarterback? I mean, I don't know. 49ers Throwback was asking, can you get, Sunday ticket? That's why I got rid of, thank you, Steve Supremo, by the way.
Wow, I'm way behind on the chat here, aren't I? Holy smokes. Go ahead.
YouTube's will now have Sunday ticket, I think, for the next 7 years. That's why I got rid of Sunday ticket. I've had Sunday ticket since I was
DirecTV.
Yeah. I got YouTube TV, the app. I'm saving right now over $120 a month.
That's awesome.
Now during the season, my brother's going to pay half.
And no antenna or satellite dish on your roof either, right?
I still have it though. No, they leave it. They leave it.
None that you rely on.
I don't have to rely on it. Yeah. Tanya Sayal says she has YouTube TV. I like it. The only thing I have a problem with YouTube TV for my brother, he's a big New York Rangers fan. They have no MSG networks. And they did, and they took them off. My brother is a big Rangers fan. And we've been trying to look at alternate routes. I told them the only thing you can do is you might have to pay for, YouTube TV or Tubi or whatever it's called. And you do it that way. Steve-O, YouTube TV is YouTube, but they have a streaming service for television. It's like $65 for the biggest package. Biggest package. And
pause.
And then you can pause. I was about to say something really off color, but I'm not going to.
Don't make me delete the show, Aaron.
No, and don't have to worry about it. Me too. He says that despite leaving the Bay Area, DirecTV and Districts, there is nothing to watch. Without football season, what do I actually watch? Food Network, NFL Network, ESPN maybe, and maybe like murder investigation shows with my mom sometimes. That's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be like 75. My mom's going to be like 100. Oh, Aaron, the show's on. Just like that's what she does. She watches like all those crazy. Oh, man. Sorry.
Well, no, if you got YouTube TV, then you get Netflix and you get, you get Apple TV. And there's lots of shows.
I have Disney Plus. I just watched the first episode of Mandalorian today, season 3.
This is the way.
Little underwhelming, I must say, for as long as a wait, but they got the whole season.
Stick with it. I mean, is it new Mandalorian or the original?
Mandalorian. No, the Mandalorian show that's been on for the last 3 years.
Yeah, you're just starting.
No, I'm caught up. I'm just saying.
Okay, so now there's a new season.
This is a new season, and then I'm waiting for the Ahsoka Tano show too. I can't wait for that. Apparently, there's going to be some big reveal at the end of this season. So I'm trying to figure out who the character is going to be. Is it going to be another Luke Skywalker cameo? Is it going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn? We do not know.
Holy smokes!
My nerd's coming out right now, guys.
And the chat is blowing up over it. Like I just can't even keep up here. But Bebop's saying VIP box.
What is VIP box TV? What is that?
I don't know.
Is that where you watch Rangers games?
Oh, maybe for MSG. Maybe he's in Philadelphia area. I know that.
VIP box TV. Is that a website?
Tanya Sayles saying no spoilers on Mandalorian.
Oh no! There's literally. Never mind. I'm just gonna say there's nothing really to spoil right now. But to be honest with you, you're good.
It's not good enough to spoil. Kind of over he knows the system. Me too, Emiliano. That's why I say it in that voice because I'm so sick of he knows the system.
She's like, stop.
We're gonna settle for crap, but they know the system.
Well, that's who would I don't want freaking Nick Mullins on this team or CJ Beathard.
Or Josh Johnson.
I'd rather gouge my eyes out with a freaking rusty spoon than ever have those guys. be 49er quarterback again.
What about Money Mitch? I mean, Jordan Elliott would be so happy if we got Mitch Trubisky, Money Mitch.
Hell no. Hell no. He's so sucky.
I mean, he just can't throw to his left. If you just run everything to the right, you're golden.
No. Wait, what is he saying? Free any game? Is it VIP Box TV?
VIP box, yeah.
Hey, Bebop,
TV.
Find me on Twitter and DM me if you don't mind.
I don't know if Bebop is on Twitter. Some of these folks, like Steve-O too, I think he's just here on YouTube. I don't think I've ever seen Steve-O on Twitter or Bebop, if I'm not mistaken. I want to scoop back up. There was a comment, and here we go. Said Kinlaw didn't gain nothing from but he hasn't proven himself. Yeah, him being injured isn't his fault. The 49ers picked him. Wait, there was something about Grant. And
but I think he may have lost out. Kinlaw should have kept his mouth shut and not abused Grant Cohner.
Yeah.
I'm 100% on that.
And you were giving Grant props, and I dug up a tweet, and then I forgot to come back to it. But here it is. Jesse Naylor tweeted, if you interview Lynch or Shanahan, ask straight up. This is the first one. If Brock isn't ready week 1, are you comfortable moving forward with Lance as your starter? Pretty straightforward. Or if Brock is healthy, are we going to get a competition? And if so, is there a favorite at the moment? And I replied below. I said, there's only one who would. Only one reporter, that is. And that's who we're talking about. Grant.
That's our guy.
I didn't mention his name, but yeah.
And they get all mad at him too. Everybody gets really salty, like the players or he doesn't, what does it say? He doesn't have any skin in the game. He's not a fan. So the fact that he asks these questions and people get so hot over them, it's like, I am an East Coast guy. So one of the reasons that I like Grant so much is because he has an East Coast vibe to him, because East Coast people or Philadelphia folk. Yeah, he'd fit right in out here.
Emiliano is calling Purdy Fran Tarkenton. He also was dope, small, Mo. But, let's be fair. Purdy won every game he finished. So it's not, I give him an incomplete on the NFC Championship game at the worst.
Definitely an incomplete.
But that's a good. I mean, the Vikings definitely have never won a Super Bowl. So no Viking quarterback ever has won a Super Bowl.
And it ain't going to be Kirk Cousins. I'm telling you right now, guys. He can give up that dream.
Probably not. I think that's probably pretty safe.
He's Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0.
Let's see here. Oh wait, I want the thin mustache so bad. LOL. Yeah, I think we're all jealous of McManner's goatee.
I could grow a mean goatee. Just this part. I can grow it and put a rubber band around it like Lou Albano used to back in the day.
Nice.
This is really weird though. I look stupid.
Ted's discount is in the title. Oh, it's in the description. Yeah. Dan McNiner saying I keep it trimmed so it doesn't get itchy. Smart.
I think he was referring
that's
to
the problem.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he's referring to his goatee.
Me too. Again, we might have to delete the show.
This is getting awkward. The sign language for awkward, in case you didn't know, is this. Awkward.
Unbelievable.
4 and 15 over onside sounds fair. I'm not sure I got that one. Steve-O's sometimes are hard to figure out, but the good thing about Steve-O is if you ask him, he'll almost always clarify later on. I mean, I was saying I should cover my face with a fence like Wilson.
Wilson from Home Improvement.
Oh, yeah. There
I just got that. But
it took me a second. Howdy, neighbor. What else we got? Steve was saying I don't care where Jimmy ends up. Yeah, same as Aaron. Right. As long as it's not here. I think Raiders, just because they got the weapons and they got Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, he would fit right in over there. He'd fit right in over there. He would just ride the coattails of good athletes.
Yeah, not too dissimilar from. I think he and Derek Carr are kind of similar anyway. Derek Carr's got a better deep ball, but overall, it's kind of like tomato potato for me. Emiliano was saying Jimmy knows they slowed down running Subway commercials after injury. He might be a better businessman than QB. More power to him. Yeah, business. He definitely is good at making business decisions. So if that makes him a businessman, I guess so. It makes him a coward in my book. But hey, again, tomato, potato, right? Or tomato,
tomato,
tomato tuna sandwich.
pretty much.
Geez. McNiner saying James Garoppolo doesn't have to go home, but he ain't staying here. Yes, please, David. We hope so. And then Steve-O wouldn't give Jimmy the playbooks, so Jimmy wouldn't give it back to Kyle. Got mad facts. So that's what the beef was about, because Jimmy wouldn't give the playbook back this time. They say turnabout's fair play. So I always call Steve-O Supreme Troll instead of Supremo, because he's definitely got a little troll in him. To be fair, week of NFCCG, Grant said he was on a scooter. Yeah, scooter, booter, we talked about this, right? The Brady's and the neck brace. Like you can wear a boot and not need it. You can ride a scooter and not need it. It doesn't mean he had to. It just means he chose to. So I don't know. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. Like I said, only Jimmy and his doctor know, but there's definitely some, we'll call it at least tea leaves pointing to the fact that he could, if not a smoking gun. Tea leaves were pointing to it. There was quite a few different points of information that led me to believe that I if you ask me, I think he could have played. And
I totally agree.
Yeah. So then we're back into the ticket stuff. Let's see if we can catch up here. Wow. Getting so far behind. Kind of over the... Oh, he knows the system. Yeah, we've been through that.
Definitely.
And they're talking about busting with the boys with CMC. Apparently, I guess he was saying that he used to tape his jersey to his pads because his dad, Ed McCaffrey, would get on him if somebody tackled him by his jersey. So wanted to make sure they didn't get a good grip on that jersey. But I've heard it's a good interview. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. So I'll have to check that out when I get a chance. Why couldn't he run only Wildcat? He knew running back roles. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to win a game running all Wildcat, unfortunately. I think that's why. And we weren't going to win that game anyway once Purdy went down ultimately. There's no comment hate on Purdy, just a comment of fan interpretation of what they might or might not be seeing. I appreciate Purdy, just not a fan of excessive expectations.
100% agree, Emiliano. And I know you weren't calling him Tarkenton. He did well. And we can't deny that. But you're right. We have to look at the Jimmy Garoppolo situation after those 5 games in 2017 and kind of realign our brain with, let's see this over a longer period of time. Because we all fell for it. And then once the league had a freaking a book on Jimmy, it was very inconsistent and he didn't win the big game. He played very, very small in that Super Bowl. So
no doubt about it. And then 49er Media is in the house. Anshul, thanks for joining. Appreciate you. And then Emiliano saying, can't wait for 30-30 doc about Jimmy's injuries and business decisions. Yeah, that's coming.
They're going to make one about our team, about how close they always were but never could win. I'm freaking not liking that very much.
Oof. Well, hopefully that 30 for 30 comes out before somebody signs Jimmy so it affects his contract value. I think that would be
why? Then he's not going to come back to us. No, give him all the money he wants and then drop it.
You're right. When you're right, you're right. So, Aaron, have we talked much about our free agents or like free agents that have come up recently this week in the marketplace? I mean, I know one that I had my eye on was, obviously Gibson saying he wants to return. He already said he wanted to play for us or retire.
They're interested in him, and he wants to return. So, to me, that's one of the biggest own free agents that we have. If you get Gibson back, then we don't have to worry about safety for another season. We just got to draft maybe a future safety. in the draft this year.
I saw John Johnson was cut by the Browns, and I liked him when he was a Ram. I mean, didn't like him because he was good as a Ram, and he was a cap casualty. He hasn't been as good with the Browns, but they don't have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey on the Browns D either. So
there's not really. I mean, I would have to look at the list of free agents. Of course, Gerard Payne has been franchised, so he's not going to go anywhere. Which a lot of people, I would assume, we all should have realized that. Whatever the best right tackle is on the market, we probably can't afford him, so we might have to go mid-level. It doesn't look like from some of the discussions that were happening that the return of McGlinchey is very likely, which is totally fine with me.
And we could go a lot lower level and still get a better pass blocker. To be honest, we probably sacrifice some run blocking to do it. And I've even heard some people say that despite McGlinchey's high run blocking grade, their eye test was telling them his run blocking has suffered lately. So
he was pretty injured last year. He was hurt. He was hobbling it sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know there's some defensive ends out there. One of them, Ngakoue, which would not be bad. Another one, I'm trying to think, who's the other guy that's out there, defensive end?
Aren't the Chargers going to cut Khalil Mack? Maybe.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah,
we wouldn't be able to afford him though. We wouldn't be able to afford him unless the Niners,
he wants a ring.
Unless he wants a ring, that's true too. That would be
none.
That would be a huge acquisition for the short term. If they're like, hey, we're gonna go all in, and we're gonna bring in Khalil Mack. Boom, here you go. Hey, look, now we have bookends, and now it's not the Nick Bosa show every week. You won't believe how much crap I got, dude, during the season or during the playoff. People were like, I was like, we don't have the best defensive line. How can you say that? We're the best defense. Doesn't mean we have the best D-line. The two teams that we played in the playoffs, the two defenses that we played in back-to-back weeks had the two best defensive lines in the NFL, and the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Much better.
Way deeper. They could get way more pressure on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
If Bosa didn't play out of his ass every single weekend, the Niners weren't getting any pressure.
That's right.
People got to take their fan hat off and put on their freaking football hat and be like, you know what, you're right. I watched both those games and I'm like, man, I wish our D-line was like that. Shoot. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Bashar says, let Jimmy get his bag. Yeah, get him the hell out of here. Let him get paid, and then we can bash him after. Yeah, as far as Gibson, I would love for him to be back.
Well, I hope his karma hurts his contract, but not enough to keep him here. Let's say
right.
That. All right.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to sign a contract. And then I better not say that. Again, I'm going to get us kicked off of YouTube. Never mind. Slip, fall, hurt himself, but I won't say exactly how.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. Understood.
Trip on the dog going down the stairs, something like that.
Yeah. The karma's a BI, what?
I've had plenty of bad karma in my life. I don't know who I pissed off. I used to mess with my dad when he was alive about his eyesight. He was in his 50s. And his pain, he had chronic pain, here and there. He was sick. And he used to always be like, you wait, I'm telling you, it's coming. Okay, my dad died in 2013. I would say the last 6 years, I have paid for every single thing, even though it was all in good fun. I've paid for every single thing I've did or said just to play and be funny. My eyesight's gotten worse. I have pain in my shoulder and my knee, and I gain weight. My eyesight is getting worse. It happens. Don't make fun of your dad or your mom, even if it's just in jest. It will come back to you.
No, I didn't start wearing these stupid specs till about age 45. So
yeah, I'm really getting there right now. I have to go
my wife's like, stop using the glasses on your shows. I'm like, honey, I can't read the and I have a huge monitor too. I'm like, I can't. There's no way I could read the chats. I can barely read them with the glasses. So
right,
no doubt. Jimmy getting hurt, nothing new. Nope, absolutely not. It's him not getting hurt would be something new, quite frankly, other than 2019.
Wet. Sky, blue. Jimmy, hurt.
Bear, poop woods.
Dog, bark at night.
I mean, someone said the Eagles D-line already had hella pressures before Purdy injury occurred. I forgot what pace, but it seemed like it spelled good things for the 49ers that game.
Yeah,
Didn't spell good things. Yeah. No,
I agree.
It was ugly. It was ugly.
They didn't look too good in the Super Bowl, though. Ha ha! Suckers.
Like it didn't spell good things. Yeah.
Hey, look, let's tee off. Can't tee off
So
against... Oh, go ahead.
So I was going to say some other free agents that have popped up because we talked about John Johnson, Gibson. There's a couple interesting linebackers, and I know linebacker is not a position of need per se, but I'll say it in the front end, like, hey, Dre Greenlaw is hardly the picture of health, especially if you look at 2021. He barely played during the regular season. And Fred kind of has been, but, the Niners have been the most injured team since Kyle got here. So I think preparing for injury is not the worst thing. We're not wishing it on either of them or hoping that it happens, but to just like pretend that it couldn't, I think is maybe not the best plan. So Bobby Wagner cut by the Rams, and Tremaine Edmonds, I heard, might be cut by the Bills. And he's a up and coming young linebacker, real tall linebacker. Get your thoughts, because it sounds like Aziz pretty much is for sure gone to the Texans from everything I'm hearing.
I think the Niners, if they're going to attach themselves to any linebackers, it's probably going to be in the draft. And they
already got McCrary Ball,
and you have Marcelino and McCrary Ball, who I and Larry Krueger have been banging the door down for probably since mid-season. Larry way earlier. So, priority-wise, free agency, I don't think it will be. I think Edmonds will get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, he's
considering his draft place.
But what if Bobby, wants that second ring and he takes a team-friendly deal? He's not washed. Clearly.
Only if that's the case. Yeah. He ain't getting money. Just like if Nick Bosa wants to play with his brother, he needs to come here and he ain't getting no money. He got paid already.
Joey.
Yeah, Joey can play for league minimum. Do what all those Niners players did that got signed that year to win the Super Bowl in '94. They all played on freaking tiny ass deals.
They did. No doubt about it. What about playoff Lenny as likely to be released by the Bucs? Leonard Fournette. Any thought? No, too old.
Too old, too fat.
Okay.
No, he's not too old. I mean, he's productive. He's still good. Does he fit our system? Is he a one cut?
He catches well. He catches well is what I like. And he can run people over. So those are the two things I like about him.
I mean, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities for the Niners to sign another running back, considering they go through him like.
Well, Elijah Mitchell, God love him, he's injury prone. We got to say it now.
I think Elijah Mitchell will get one more year, this year being that year. If he cannot stay healthy again this coming season, the Niners have, they should, I hate to say this, guys, but the Niners need to address running back in the draft. Just don't do it in the third round. Do it in like the 5th or 6th or 7th. Or undrafted.
I'm with you there.
I swear to God, if they draft the running back in the 3rd round, I'm going to have to find something to shatter or break around the house.
Yet another ex-Ram, and you're noticing a theme here. We had John Johnson, we had Bobby Wagner, now we have Bobby Trees, aka Robert Woods. Versatile wide receiver, kind of positionless guy, captain type material, leadership guy, older for sure.
I don't know if they'd have a space for him, maybe because the fact that it looks like Jawan's coming back.
Yeah.
And Jawan's getting an exclusive rights free agents, which means he can't sign with anybody else, which means he's going to be back. You already have Debo. You already have Ayuk. I would assume Ray McLeod's going to stay on the team.
Yeah.
So, he could.
And there's that young guy that we got drafted.
Yeah, Danny Gray.
No. Yeah, we obviously drafted him. Yeah, Tay Martin.
Yeah. Big play Tay. That's another big Larry guy. So
yeah.
Yeah, I listen to Larry when he talks about players, man. I put my ear to the ground on that one.
But you got to remember there's an added bonus about all these ex-Rams players, which is if we got any one of them or all of them, just the joy of listening to what's left of Rams Twitter meltdown over it would be a real added bonus. So
yeah, one of them came in one of my chats the other day. I think when I had I think it might have been
Peo
the NWO
time?
chat. No, it wasn't Peo. Peo's a great guy. It was some other Rams guy.
Oh, Ramilia.
Just like go away. You dude, your team you don't have any players left.
5-12, dude. Rebuild. Enjoy the rebuild. And not only 5-12, 1-8. That's the better one. Because so I just asked him like, Peo time was on with Ryan.
Is that him? Did he literally just Ram runs the chat? Is that really the Ramilia or is that Steve-O Supremo?
I think it is. I think it's
speaking of the devil, and he shall appear.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's what.
Tell him to go home. No, you heard your ears ringing? Yeah, I bet. Always got to come and ruin our chat. No, I'm just kidding. You're welcome as long as you don't act completely foolish. This isn't my stream though, so I don't know.
Real deal.
But the fact that you said what's left of their Twitter, that's dude. They're going through. If they lose Ramsey. They're definitely going to be going through a slight rebuild because they.
Ooh, you mean when?
When? Yeah, there's definitely they're definitely going that when that's what happens when you pay for a Super Bowl. You go through the win now mode and or as opposed to trying to be good over time. I mean, they got their ring. Give them props. They got their ring, but
they did get their ring. Now I'm honestly wondering how long till we make a move like that. I could see it happening this year. I could see it happening next year and the next few years.
I wouldn't mind if the Niners went an all in, did an all in, and gave signed a couple of players and gave it one last shot while we have some young quarterbacks.
Yeah,
it's not like we're bereft of talent. You know what I mean? We don't suck.
So Ramilia update. Chiefs are champs, man. You guys, that ended a couple weeks ago. So Rams are not champs anymore. Now yours is in the past, just like our 5. Oh, snap.
Okay, so there's 2 Ramilias in here. There's Ramilia Sports in all caps, and that one says Rams suck. And then we have Ramilia Sports RSR in normal.
I think RSR is the real one. Yeah, I think the other one. I think the caps might be our buddy.
That might be Steve-O.
I think that might be Steve-O.
I know he has a formerly 49ers First Tanks account too. So
yeah,
that's hilarious.
Well, I mean, nobody knows who Hamilton Talks Ball is, but I've got an idea who it might be.
The dog. He's like I said, he's in his cage.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, the added bonus of those signing those extra Rams players, just watching Rams Twitter burn, it'll be fun. I mean, I think there's a lot more to come with that. Would
you go after Ramsey. A guy like Ramsey for a 1-year shot? Oh no, he has to be traded, right?
They won't trade him to us.
No, they would never trade him within the division. They would never trade. Only an idiot would do something like that.
No, they would be foolish to do that.
So I'll
just assume they're smart. The Dolphins, they need somebody. Byron Jones is retired.
Yeah,
so,
my brother was really pissed off about Byron Jones because the Dolphins really never said what was going on with him, and he thought because I guess he just had like a toe or a finger injury or something all year and never played. The guy his body's given out. He's done. He's done playing, and I don't blame him whatsoever. I got chronic pain, and I'm 45.
We got Bryant called. He'll volunteer to be the mod. I think he wants to kick some people out. Is that why, Bryant? Are we wanting to kick Ramilia out?
Oh, we got young Montana saying Purdy's noodle arm snapped.
Oh, young Montana's. I thought he was a 49er fan, though.
So did I.
Well, maybe he's a Lance fan. I don't know. But I mean, it's kind of true. I can't fault him. I mean, it's a little bit of a troll, but it's a little.
It's true literally too, the same thing. Texted, it typed every time though. There's no anything behind it. It's just like, "Hi, I'm going to show up. Purdy's noodle arm snap. Goodbye."
Okay. All right. Well, then we can removify. Put him in timeout. What else we got here? We were talking a little bit. There was a few others. Obviously, Tabor Pepper signing. Maybe. What do you think about Robbie Gould? Have you heard about this Moody kid in the draft? He bangs.
Yeah, I've heard that they're yeah, that was another John Lynch not being super, committed to the whole Robbie Gould. I don't know if they were. I haven't listened to the whole interview. I don't know if he was asked.
Well, what if Robbie wants 2 years and not one? Like, that's the thing, right? I mean, Father Time is undefeated. I'm fine with giving Gold a year, $5 million for 1 year.
If he's not willing to take some sort of cut, I would definitely look to replace him in the draft.
Yeah,
do it.
Interesting.
Do it. When is this guy? What's the? Do you know the draft grade or the mock of where he's supposed to go?
I mean, I hear like 5th or 6th, but I haven't been paying close attention.
I found the Niners. I draft him. But that'll be my first pick in the 3rd round.
I mean, typically you don't really see many kickers or punters going below the 5th unless it's Mitch Wisnowski in the 4th. Unless it's us. Andy Lee, I think that was more like 6th round. I think we drafted him, and people freaked out about that. So, what about Juwan Jennings? He got the 1-year contract. Obviously, no surprise.
Very happy.
But it kind of brings up an interesting point. Should we draft some wide receivers this year? Because, we probably.
I brought this up on my show, and I don't know if a lot of the guys agreed.
We won't be paying both Jennings and Ayuk. And there's also talk about trading Debo at the end of the season.
That was what I brought up on the NWO guys. And
so
I don't know. We
might lose 2 of those 3 guys, maybe.
I would definitely look to invest a draft pick in a wide receiver. Definitely.
What about a tight end?
Also a tight end. We have enough, dude. Too. We have what? How many 3s do we have? 3?
Yeah.
And how many 5s do we have?
I think 3 or 4.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Even I would take a chance on a tight end that maybe doesn't block as well.
I heard Utah has a good tight end. People like Sam Laporta from Iowa, obviously Kittle's alma mater. And I heard there's one who's probably like a 1st-round pick from Notre Dame that we probably won't have a shot at. But those are the 3 I've heard some. And then there's some gigantic 6'8" guy that I'm not really paying attention to. Because
I'm not a big fan of really big guys unless they can move. I don't need. Why do you want a power forward on the field? I don't understand.
Exactly.
Big slow dummy. Like, I don't know.
We got 2 of them right here. We don't need any more on the field, right? Didn't know B. Jones retired. That's too bad. Wishing him well. Yeah, he had, I think, neck injuries or something.
He said he couldn't run. He couldn't jump. His body is, listen, man, it's a tough sport. It's a tough sport.
It is, no doubt.
I never played professional football or even whatever, but so you have to understand, though, some of us, too, are just genetically, their bodies are just not made for physical sports, so it happens. So yeah, props to him. Get out while you still can before you're not crippled, and enjoy the rest of your life. I'm sure he has other things that he'll do to make money off of. Bobby Wagner. that was my point about Bobby Wagner was he's making a couple or a mil for the next 2-3 years from the Rams, so that could help him to take a little bit less from us. Thank you, Rams. Love it. I want to see me play football. Yeah.
Chris Hansen says Ramilia makes fake accounts.
And Chris Hansen makes fake. No, just kidding. Nah, we love you, Chris Hansen.
I don't know, Chris, but hey, welcome to the show.
You don't remember that show, Chris Hansen?
No.
Where they pose as an underage girl to catch freaking pedos.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And then he shows up at the house. Like
to catch a predator.
Yeah, he's the guy. It's one of the best YouTube names ever.
Yeah,
because you just see the head. You see Chris Hansen's head in the chat. It's like, wait a minute. Oh, Daylight on the Sea. Check me out. That's freaking awesome.
All right. Robbie Gould is worth it. Pay the man, says Bryant Culp.
He is in the playoffs. He is in the playoffs.
Nails.
My problem is that in kickoffs, We need to get guys that can kick deeper into the end zone or at least to the 1 yard line, for crying out loud.
And those field goals past 55 yards, like 60, some are making 65, So, I mean, not that you have to have that, but it's nice. It'd be nice to know you could if you needed it. You could at least have a chance of it. Kid Clientele says,
I agree with that. Danny Gray need more playing.
Yeah. No, Danny Gray for sure.
Both of them need more playing time.
Absolutely.
One of the guys, the NWO guys, made a good point though, Ted. He said, we're having a hard time developing Danny Gray, and then we're going to add another receiver to the mix. You know what I mean? Like, so I can understand that, but who knows, man?
But I want a big receiver. I want
a big receiver
like
too.
A Drake London type,
I want
who's
a
like
6'4"
6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
And not just that, because like John Jennings is 6'3", but he's only about 215. I mean, I want like 230,
Isn't Tay Martin pretty tall? Isn't he like 6'5"? Tate 6'4", 6'5"?
I don't think so.
I am a big bodied receiver guy. I grew up during the 90s. I've liked the Elvin Harpers, the JJ Stokes, Terrell Owens. I like bigger receiver. I mean, Jerry Rice was only 6'1", but they and then they had Ahani Awazake, I think, who was like really tall too. So whatever his name was, Ahana Huda. Somebody said Jalen Hurd.
I think with Danny Gray, though, honestly, I hate to say this, and I'll probably get dragged for it, but I think we have to also admit there might be a chance he just might not be the guy. A couple times that we threw to him, he didn't help the quarterback, and the incompletes weren't really because of a badly thrown ball.
And I heard he pouts too.
Yeah, so I think I think especially for camp, we need a lot of bodies. I don't know. I'd like to see. Maybe we don't have to draft one. Maybe we can get one undrafted.
I mean, I could play wide receiver. I'm 6'3". I'm 4'3", and I have a bad knee and bad shoulder. But I mean, if you throw it right to me, and in the end zone, I might be able to come down with it, but I can't really promise.
I'm not betting on it. As much as I love you, babe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little.
I don't think that's the answer. Trade a Gray. That's what we're hoping for sure. If we can't sign Robbie, then we need to go all in and draft Jake Moody. Absolutely. I want to see Aaron play football.
You want to see like a slow developing accident?
We need a content creators flag football game next. We got to fly you out here for starters.
Oh yeah,
and get everybody together.
I'll come out to Cali. I want to be on Bash's team though.
Dateline NBC for Chris.
If we're going to do that, I want to be on Bash's team and Ryan. Ryan's my personal protector. He'll kick everybody's ass for me. I just point, he hits.
It's a funny YouTube name, no doubt about it. He says I'm a big Niners fan. All right, well that's all it takes to be here.
You can do whatever you want. Just be Niners
you're fine to be an opposing fan too. Just be respectful, for crying out loud. I love it. 29 for 29 in the playoffs, number 1 all time. Yeah, no, he's good, but he's getting old, and Father Time will catch him. So everybody says resign.
Undefeated, no matter who you are, man.
That's right. What about? Did we talk much already about like Wilkes and D'Amico and all that kind of stuff?
No, not really.
Kubiak. How do you feel about Steve Wilkes?
I think he's a great hire. I think he's the Niners don't have to reinvent the wheel with him. He is really good with defensive backs. That's kind of his area of expertise. The Niners got a lot better during the year with their defensive backs, but they can always improve. That a lot of people, including us content creators, always said the one place at the Niners, if you can get them during the season, was their back end. So him. Pause. And then you have what's that?
Pause. You said the one place you can always get them is their back end, and I was like,
boom. Oh man, I'm really bad. And then of course we have a great defensive line coach and a great linebackers coach. So I think it's a win-win. I think all 3 levels got great coaches. And then as far as I know we got Clint Kubiak. He's been signed to a high-level offensive role, but they really haven't said what it is. I just think the Niners are insulating themselves in certain positions just in case certain people leave. D'Amico, I think D'Amico has got a really huge task in front of him. I don't know how successful he's going to be there. But I mean, I wish him nothing but the best. As far as, if any former Niners go down there and play for him, I have a feeling Aziz might find his way down to Houston to play for him. So, but yeah, I'm looking to see what Steve Wilkes does with this defense, especially with the secondary. I'm not going to say back end because it just opens itself up to all possibilities.
No, it's exciting, and we're gonna have a lot of young guys. I mean, we already got Womack and Lenore and Ambry, and I think we'll add some more young guys. I think we'll draft a safety. I think we may draft a boundary corner too, depending on what happens with Mosley. So
Osa made it sound like Mosley's coming back.
Wilkes, but even if he comes back, when will he be back?
And when and how much will he be available?
Yeah, I mean, he did it week 5, so it could be at least until then. If he takes a full year, which, some guys do it 9 months or some even closer to 6, but I think a year is pretty standard, especially for a position like corner that really relies on that lateral stability, that lateral quickness. I would imagine that corners have a little bit longer ACL rehab than, say, like a defensive tackle or something like that. So,
yep.
All right. I think we're pretty much caught up on chat. I think we've been going for a while here, and we started a little late too. So I want to be mindful of you. I know you've got to eat dinner. I have.
I think I'm going to eat. I'm going to go for like a one of those whey shakes. Those not a protein shake, but just like I might start a shake meal remedy to start losing some weight here, and then eventually, when I can start running or moving, I can do that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I had a guy on the show recently, and he was saying I was the fat guy in a little visor, calling me Tommy Boy, basically. And I was like, "Damn, I gotta cut out the
guy in a little visor. That's messed up."
I was like, "Man, that's cold." I mean, I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to fire me up and get me, just like you and Raj. I think probably a lot of people want to see a little more of that toxic Ted on here. And it's coming. I think I just got to get a little more comfortable, and then I'll start unleashing fury.
Just don't go dark or weird where you have to delete shows after.
Well, that already happened too this week.
But
that wasn't my fault.
Right. If you're going to be a guest on anybody's show, keep it on the field.
Yeah.
No politics, no religion, no misogynistic anything. Just keep it football, and you'll be fine.
Nothing to do with race.
No, nothing to do with race. Pretty easy. It's pretty easy. I don't understand how people have it. I don't know. I guess everybody's brain doesn't work the right way all the time. Mine doesn't, but at least I'm aware of that kind of stuff. And people who get all these like copy strikes or strikes on their channel, all you have to do is look at people's content. If you have anything with violence, whether it's fights or somebody like I know that there was a video going around of that slob TDP, whatever his name is, that he's known for child endangerment and stuff, and he's made a video about telling people to go do violent acts to James Bradbury, and I'm like, how is this video on YouTube? Like, that's horrible. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be smart, people. You got to be smart. Don't wish violence on people, even if it's a joke. People can cut a video up, send it to YouTube, and then you lose your channel. So,
only things Rams run, Ramelia, is 5-12 and 1-8, soon to be 1-10. Or if you're lucky to make it,
they're going to run the bottom of the
playoffs.
Yeah,
we'll make it 1-11 for you. How's that? Enjoy.
Boom.
Cheers. And on that note, everybody, thanks everybody for coming. Please like and subscribe to both our channels. And peace out. Let's go Niners.
Bye, everyone. Go Niners.